Hello, welcome to our Yomi Shiur, where we Zayin and base, bottom of the page. Is that so? Nishma Tabazel Mikatoi. Yeah, basically we have a Mishnah here that tells us the second Mishnah about a Rotzech B'Shoigig, a person who killed someone by mistake. We're going to see more details about that. So now we really have to understand what's the story in the Torah when it talks about Rotzech B'Shoigig. The Torah tells us a very specific kind of scenario. A person going into a forest. What does forest mean? Means any place where it's public domain where both people are allowed to be in, meaning the murdered person was allowed to be there. Therefore, you, Mr. Rotzech B'Shoigeg, should have anticipated, should have been more careful. Maybe there's another guy there, not just you. Some people think the world belongs to them. Well, apparently not. There are other people around. Guess what? And then it says the words V'noshal habarzel. I want to read before we start the Mishnah the entire pasuk. Some of you with a more modern Gemara have it on the sidebar, and it says like this. Yeah, I'm reading inside the. This is from Dvorim Yutes. It says Vasher Yovo Yisrael Bayar Lachtov Eitzim. A person came together with his friend to the forest. I don't know if he means they came together, mamish, but the two people happened to be in the forest. And he came lachtoiv eitzim. What's lachtoiv eitzim? Chot veitzim, to cut wood, to fell the trees. Eitzim are trees. V'nidcha yodo begarzen lichos ha'etz, and then his hand somehow got pushed. Some kind of accident of nidcha. The hand went the wrong direction in the garzen. Garzen is an X. Lichos ha'etz. Yeah. So now again, or maybe nidcha just means that his hand just pushed the tree with an X as he was supposed to. But now, the most important words, now the words which the Mishnah is going to have a big issue with is these words we have to listen to very carefully. V'noshal habarzel min ha'etz. There are two ways to understand these words. V'noshal, linshol, noshel means to fall. The barzel, the metal, fell, min ha'etz, from the tree. No, in English you have two separate words, tree and wood. Noshal Basel mina etz, a pshat means you have an X, and the handle of the X is made out of wood, usually, like even today's hammers, and the piece of metal, the big, heavy, scary one, fell from the Etz. So the pasuk is talking about Etz, tree. At the beginning, we talk about a person who came to cut the tree, right, because he wants wood. And then what happened? Boom, all of a sudden, unexpectedly, the Basel, the metal piece, Noshal, fell from the etz, from the wood piece, from the handle, and then sadly, and it found its friend. In other words, it fell on his friend, the mace, and the friend died. And then he, Mr. Rotzech B'Shoigeg, the mistaken killer, has to run to one of those cities, to the Or Miklat, to the cities of refuge, and now he's a refugee, and then he can live. I want to tell you something before we continue. To my shame and horror, I actually never knew it my entire life. I don't remember it. I mean, I've done Makkos before. I saw the Rambam. Maybe it's even a Gemara later on. Again, I'm making a confession here, showing my maratzis, that basically what happens with a person that is shoigeg korov lemezid. Remember that guy? Yesterday, we had a shoigeg that's a bit more to the bad side, to the left side, and then he's a person who should have been more careful. He's more like a poishea. He could have been more careful, and he wasn't. He doesn't go to Ir Miklat. So I kept saying, because Ir Miklat is too lenient for him. That's true. But the Rambam says something which is a big chiddush. The Rambam says a person who's rotzeach shoigeg korov lemezid is not a mezid. A mezid, you take him to Beis Din and he's tried for murder. A shoigeg korov lemezid says that the goy adam is allowed to kill him. Wow. The goy adam is allowed to kill him, but the goy adam who's allowed to kill him is free to kill him, meaning he can't run away to a city of refuge. This person doesn't have permission to run into the city of refuge. What should he do, says the Rambam? Hide away, living in hiding. He should live in hiding. He should ask all the Holocaust survivors how to manage. Live in a barn and don't tell anybody that you're there. Can't go to your kid's chasanas. If you get out of that place, yeah, the goy adam can come, gun blazing. I don't know the details. It's quite new for me, but this is what the Rambam says. So that's a huge, huge, huge nafkamina. Rotzech shoygeg kol lemezid has the goy ladam has the right to take revenge, and he, on the other hand, doesn't have the safety of the Ir Miklat of the city of refuge. I'm sure there's much more written about it, that this was just a piece of information. It actually doesn't even have to do with the Mishnah now, but I just couldn't hold back such an important piece of information from my good friends. Okay, you live and learn. There's a mile of not being a Talmud Chacham. Every day you learn more and more. Like you you discover more things. Even a Talmud Chacham, I hear. Says the Mishnah, Zog the Elige Mishnah. Now we're going to see a major machloikis between Rebbe and Chachamim regarding the pasuk I just quoted, V'noshal habarzel min ha'etz. Nishmat habarzel mikatoi v'horag. The barzel, the metal piece, iron piece, fell from the cut, from the handle of the X, of the whatever the X, and killed someone. Rebbe Omer Eino Goyle Hupa. Rebbe says he does not go to Golus. That's not what the Torah spoke about. Everything I told you, says Rebbe, wrong. The way we read the pasuk, says Rebbe, no. In such a case, you don't get Golus. The Chachamim Omer Goyle, and Chachamim say you do get the Golus. Chachamim say, yeah, that's the case of the Torah. Chachamim say no shal barzel min ha'etz. The piece of metal flew off the handle, right? And now it fell, so you have to get Golus. That's what the Torah talks about. Now, how did Rebbe learn the pasuk? Listen to the second case. Min ha'etz hamitzbakeya. You, Mr. Woodcutter, professional guy, and you, nothing fell from the X. The X remained intact. But as you hit the tree, not the wood, the tree, a splinter from the tree, as you hit it, a splinter from the tree flew away, boom, straight into the brains or the heart of Mr. Victim. What happens then? Rabbi Omer Goyle, Rabbi says, aha, that's the Golus. When we said Nosha lebarzel mina etz, it doesn't mean that the barzel fell off the tree. It means that the barzel, the X nishel, the X cut from the tree, made the tree fall. And the piece of wood from the live tree fell. The noshal or nishel is really the way it should be pronounced. Nishel lebarzel mina etz. That's what you chayav on. The Chachamim say no. In such a case, you don't get the golus. I'm not going now to the lomdus if it's kov lemezid, kov l'shogeg. First of all, we have to see how did they learn the psukim. So Rabbi learned the psukim one way and Chachamim the other way. And now we're going to, in the Gemara, in the Braisa, we're going to see, without the lomdus and the iyun, just pshat of how you read the psukim, we'll see how the two Tanoim, Rabbi versus everybody else, how they learned the psukim. Zokt the Gemara a Braisa, Tanya. We're learning a Braisa, we're learning the Tanya. Omer lem Rabbi l'chachomim. Rabbi told Chachomim, v'chinemar v'nosha l'barzel me'eitzoi. Does it say that the barzel fell from its, its, no apostrophe? Yeah, the etz fell from its handle. It doesn't say that. It says from the etz. You know, in Hebrew, etz means both tree and wood, right? So therefore, it says mina etz, from the tree, not from the handle. Its handle, min ha'etz, mashma, just the etz. If it's like you guys are saying that it fell, the handle fell, the metal piece fell off the handle, it should say me'etzoi, from its wood, from its eitz. It says ha'etz. That means, well, like I'm saying, that it hit the eitz and boom, and then it flew off the splinter. The odd, and another reason I have to support what I'm saying, Ne'emar etz lemata, v'ne'emar etz lemala. We read the entire pasuk. At the beginning of the pasuk, it says etz, that he came to the forest to cut etzim, and there it meant trees, clearly. And here again, it says the same word etz. And we always like in the Torah to do hekesh, gzeroshovo, we like to compare, to group. Ma etz amur lemala min ha'etz hamisbakeya, af etz amur lemata min ha'etz hamisbakeya. Just like the etz mentioned at the beginning of the pasuk is an etz that's being cut, not the handle, but the tree that you are cutting. So to the Sefer, when the Torah describes the tragic, dramatic moment of the murder, the unintentional murder, it talks about an etz, a piece of etz, of tree that was mitbakea, that was cut, and one splinter flew off, and yeah, with the impact, it killed Yana. This is how Rebbe is learning the pasuk. Okay, Now, Chachamim, what are the two tzaddim of Chachamim and Rebbe? Amar Rav Chia bar Ashi, Omar Rav. Rav Chia bar Ashi is quoting Rav, saying how the different opinions learn the same pasuk. The Shnei Mikra Echad. Although Rebbe has other reasons, and soon we'll see why, Rebbe gave two reasons to support himself. Noshal Balzal mina eitz and not eitzo, means the tree, not the wood. And also etz, just like the first etz is the tree, so to the second one is the tree and not the piece of wood, the handle. Chachamim can live, by the way, with these two pshotim, lav dafka. Chachamim can say, so what? This etz is tree and this etz is a piece of wood. Now we're going to get to another aspect of the machloikas. What does Rav say? Rav Chia bar Ashi Amar Rav, V'shnei mikra chadorshu. Both Rebbe and Chachamim, they both learn the same pasuk in different ways. And what is the pasuk? As we said, V'noshal abarzal mina eitz. V'noshal abarzal mina eitz. I'm not going to translate it because there are two different translations. Rebbe sovar yesh em la masoires. V'nishel ksiv. Rebbe says, now what you have to follow is the Masoires, the way that it is written. Yeah? In other words, the way that it's written, V'noshal habalzel min ha'etz, really? And Masoires, the way it is written. You know the B'chlokas, Yeshem la Masoires, Yeshem la Mikra, B'chlokas B'cholot Kula, the main place, if you want to have a look, is in Sanhedrin, Daf Daled. It's also quite big in Kiddushin, Yudches Amud Beis, the top of the page, which did Kiddushin. Yeah, what's Yeshem L'Masoros, Yeshem L'Mikra? Yeshem L'Masoros means when you have a word that can be read one way and written the other way, which happens a lot in Hebrew. As you all know, vowels in Hebrew are very, very flexible, right? So we have the Masoros, the way it's supposed to be written, and we have the way that it's read. The way it's pronounced when they read from the Torah in the Orthodox synagogue, then there's a way to read it, to pronounce it. The question is, when there's a war between the two, which one do you follow la halacha? Which one has stronger weight la halacha? The way it's written or the way that it is pronounced? Masoires means traditional. It's all tradition, pronunciation too. So I never knew why Masoires. Once I saw, I don't remember why. Masoires is the way that Moshe Rabbeinu had the Masoira from Hashem and down the generations, the way it's supposed to be written. So Rebbe says, I believe that Masoires, the way the word is written, is stronger than the way that it is pronounced. And therefore, the nishel ksiv, right? Nashal nishel. In other words, if you take the letters nun shin lamed, even me as an Israeli and my Hebrew is quite okay, I wouldn't know if it's nashal or nishel. It's ksiv choser. So says Rebbe, you know what? Because of everything else I told you, I believe the way to write it, as long as it's not pronounced, it's not written with a yud, but as long as it's not pronounced, I have every right in the world to read it as nishel. What's nishel? Made fall, dropped, caused to fall, caused to, was menashel. If you know a bit of dikduk, that PL, you know the 7 billion, we all learn it in Ulpanim, right? Yeah, no, right. All the Americans know about the 7 billion. I'm very impressed by you. No, really, yeah. I'm not saying sarcastically, really. So the nishel, is he made something else fall. That's Rebbe, right? We're talking here about the barzel that caused the splinter to fly off by cutting it too hard, yeah? That's Yeshem L'Masayres. The Rabbanon Savri, we're continuing Yeshem L'Mikra, V'noshal Karinan. Rabbanon said, listen, wow, what amazing way of reading, but what we care about is what we listen to. When we listen to the Baal Koira, Monday, Thursday on Shabbos, that's what we care about. And the way it is pronounced, you can't argue, is V'noshal. Noshal means it fell, meaning it fell from the tree, not from the tree, it fell from the piece of wood, meaning that piece of barzel, the metal piece, the big heavy piece, fell off the handle. It flew off the handle. It flew off the handle. Literally flew off the handle, and killed someone from flying off the handle. And that's the way we learn it. Okay, the noshal karina, that's what we're learning. Yes.
The Gemara noshal does not have a yud in it, but your shayl has a yud in it.
Right, it's only the way to read. Everyone agrees that there's no yud. Everyone agrees. Oh, Rebbe reads it. Thank you for bringing exactly. Rebbe is reading the words as if there's a dot under the nun called chirik. You know, it's called the little dot under the letter, which makes it say E, like EE in English. It's chirik. And if that chirik is, therefore, he reads it nishel. He has every right to say the way it's written can be pronounced as nishel or nashal or nushal. That's the way I'm a kabel. Mashenkin, they say no. When you listen, there's no two ways to pronounce it. When you listen to the Torah, it says venashal, it fell. Okay, everyone uses no yud. The Gemara brought in the yud in order to make it easy for us, not to get confused. Obviously, yes, Burach. Be less confused. Okay, frag the Gemara. The Rebbe yesh em l'masoras tzvirale. Are you sure? Is that true what you said? Do you think the Rebbe really has, excuse the pun, a tradition that he always believes yesh em l'masoras? Is that his shita all over Shas? Va'omar Rav Yitzchak bar Yosef Omar Rabbi Yochanan. Rav Yitzchak bar Yosef said on behalf of Rabbi Yochanan, and by the way, we're quoting now from Sanhedrin Daf Daled. You have an entire daf almost there about yesh em l'masoras l'mikra, and it says over there, Rebbe, ורבי יהודה בן רויץ, ובית שמאי, ורב שמעון, ורבי עקיבא, 5 חושב people and תלמיד חכמים, כולו סביר לא יש אם למקרא. They all believe that we believe in yesh em lamikra. They believe that it goes by pronunciation, not by the way it's written. So how do you all of a sudden Rebbe switch sides? What happened all of a sudden? And says the Gemara, that's what Rebbe told them the other reasons as well. In other words, as Tanoim and Amroim say many times, they go by that. They say, first of all, I have compelling reasons, even without Masoros and Mikra. Without getting into this whole messy business, Masoros and Mikra, I have 2 reasons to believe that we're talking here about splinter from the tree. Why? It doesn't say etzoy, it says etz, and etz, kind of hekesh or gzerah. Yeah, the same kind of tree. We're talking about a tree, not about the piece of wood, the handle. That's first. Besides that, I don't believe in Yesh Em La Masoros, but if you'd follow Yesh Em La Masoros, that would have a support for me too. Yeah, in other words, let's say you don't believe with Lahavdil Favdal, Shkofa, some leftist guy. I have reasons A, B, C to say this is so and so, and even the leftists agree with me on that one. Yeah, to bring in, right? Not that I hold that way, I gave you enough reasons. Chutz mizeh, even my opponents, even they would agree mitzad that. That's already saying what he's saying. Amar of Pope. Now, Amar of Pope, why am I
still standing.
the Machloikes, which Machloikes still stands?
Between Rebbe and the sage.
Of course, between Rebbe and Chachamim. Yeah, between Rebbe and Chachamim and also the sages. Yeah. Very good. No, you don't want to go to an old age home, right? Sage. Sage is an old age home. You don't belong there. You're a young guy. Sage is an old age home in England, so that's what I know what Sage is. You're a Sage. You're a Sage yourself. Let's continue. The Oid Omar of Pope. Excuse me, Omar of Pope. Man deshada pisa ledikla. A person threw a piece of, let's say, earth, a clod of earth. He threw it onto the decal, into the palm tree. And what happened then? The atar tamri, and now the tmorim, a whole bunch of dates fell in one go, heavy. They weigh a good few kilos, and under those dates, that cluster of dates, which are big and heavy, was a fragile little kid or something. And v'ozel tamri v'kotul. Wow, the dates killed the guy underneath. Wow, get that? In other words, he threw the stone on the dates because maybe he wants to disconnect them, and those trees, boom, fell on someone's head. He separated them. We're going to see more of the details. Atotam. It doesn't make a difference right now. We will discuss it, but basically, he caused the tmorim to fall by throwing the stone. Boom, boom. Now the tmorim fell on someone's head and killed him. So then, Banu Machlokes the Rebbe v'Rabbanon. This is Machlokes Rebbe and Rabbanon. Why? Because this is similar to a guy who's holding the axe with his hand, and boom, he's cutting the wood, and the wood fell on someone, right? So too, what did they do here? The person here threw the stone, and then the tmorim fell on someone's head. So l'chayra, it's the same machlokes as Rebbe and Rabbanon. Rebbe would say chayev, and Rabbanon say he's potter from Golus. What do you do according to Rabbanon? I have to find out. Rabbanon said he's potter. Frag the Gemara pshita. What's the chiddush? Of course, it's just another example. Who cares whether it's an axe or a stone? Answers the Gemara, no. Mao detema kikoyach koychoidami kamash malan, which means one would suggest that this is not a direct thing. Look at Tosfos. One would say that if I throw, soon we're going to see Tosfos, if I threw a stone and the stone hit the dates, it's not a direct action coming from me. There's something separating it, and maybe it's called koyach koichoi. It's more indirect, which even according to Rebbe would be considered already as potul. Kamash Malan, we don't view it as koyach koichoi. It is direct enough, according to Rebbe, to make him go to the golus, to the Yer Miklat. Toisfes right now. The zweite Toisfes, the second Toisfes in the page. What's the difference between throwing a stone on the dates and they fall, and the etz, the tree that was cut and then boom fell? The hossam over there, noga b'mashe b'yodoi b'shasa tozas etz. You get the Hebrew? Over there, he was touching the X while the etz was nitaz fell. He did not leave. His own hands are touching the X as the X is now making the tree fall, and boom, falling, or a splinter or the tree fell on someone's head. Aval hocha over here, when he threw the stone, you know what he did after he threw the stone? You know how long it took the stone to come from to travel between his hand and the top of the tree? 12 and a half seconds. 12 and a half seconds, he was gulping his coffee, watching it happening. Oh, that's cool, right? It's not so direct. When the tmorim are off the tree and boom, falling on the head of Misken, the guy, from his hand, he's detached from the Maisa. So one could say, maybe that's an indirect. It's not my koyach, it's koyach koicho. It's a ripple effect. It's the force of my force. It's not the direct force. That's what one would say. Kamash Malan. That's I heard once. There's a question. I haven't seen it before inside, but I know it's one of the things that Avrechim and Koilel always talk about. If somebody who kills the other guy with a gun, if it's not called like a koyach koicho because of that. In other words, when you shoot someone with a gun, you shoot with the gun. I didn't do anything. Then the bullet hits his heart. It's less direct than a knife in my hand. That's a shaila here, right? Because I did the action, and when the bullet hits his heart 5 meters away, that's been already. I'm not doing anything physical. Kamash Malan, we don't say that. Kamash Malan, you're chayiv on the gun, and you're chayiv on throwing the asa because it's a direct action. We don't care whether it's in your hand or it's not in your hand. Lamaisa, the action is direct. Boom. The boom came scientifically. Every second of the stone going up and cutting the tmorim is scientifically because of the koyach you invested in it, right? To fight the inertia that fights gravity, right? So you know that the whole koyach is really there. So it's still called koichoy, not koyach koichoy, and you chayiv golus according to Rebbe. Now we're going to discuss, I think, what you were trying to say before. One second. Ela koyach koichoy leRebbe echmesh kachaslo. So according to Rebbe, when would you have koyach koichoy? When would you pater according to Rebbe, which seems to be more machmir here? When would there be a case of indirect force caused by force, more like a chain reaction, which would pater? When would there be such a case? Answers the Gemara, Kigon de Shada Pisa Umachia Legarma. The piece of the cloud of earth, the piece of earth or stone, what did he do? First of all, Machia, it cut the grama, that's the etz, that's the branch. It cut the branch. I don't know how that happened in practice, but the branch itself that fell, that branch maybe fell on a cluster of tmorim underneath and cut the clusters. And then those dates they fell. That's koch koichoi. My stone hit the top branch. The top branch fell on the lower tmorim. Those tmorim they fell on the guy underneath and killed him. That's called koich koichoi. And now we sing a chiddush that koich koichoi by Rotzeach b'shoigeg does not make him go to your miklat. I would say it's closer to the oines. That's my humble opinion. But again, I still have to be me'ayin in this whole sugya. But this is the Pashup Pshat. This is the Pashup Pshat of the sugya. Definitely, right after the Shiur, I will look into the lomdus here. What's the lomdus? What's the chakira behind the opinions of Rebbe and Rabbanon, the sages? Okay? The Seder. Yes, next Mishnah, question time, and then Mishnah.
Going back to the actual Mishnah itself.
Next Mishnah. Zog the Mishnah. Hazoyrek even l'shus harabim, v'horag harei ze goyle. A person threw a stone into l'shus harabim, knowing very well l'shus harabim is l'shus harabim. Lots of people can be there. He threw a stone. like these people in America, they take a gun and shoot people in the street. So instead of that, he threw a stone into a Shusarabim, knowing very well that there are people over there, and he killed someone, he gets Golus. He's called a Shoigeg. The big Chiddush. That's what the Mishnah seems to be saying. We're going to explain it in the Gemara. Ablezer ben Yaakov oimer, im kshiotzoso heaven miyodoi, hoitzi hala esroishoi v'kibla reze potur, which means, let's say a person was in his house, and someone, the Rotzech b'shoigeg, threw it into the street. When the Rotzech b'shoigeg, when the stone left his hand, this guy's head was not within the range, the trajectory of the stone. He cocked out his head, he picked his head, and moved his head into Shusarabim, into the location, into the trajectory of the stone, mistakenly. After the stone started flying, then, according to Eliezer ben Yaakov, then the Rotzech b'shogeg is potur. In other words, when the coast was clear, either in the field or anywhere, while the Rotzech b'shogeg threw the stone or threw the axe or did whatever, and then the guy came in, he came into the scenario after the stone was thrown, and then accepted the stone or the garzen, then the Rotzech b'shogeg is potur. Misvora makes sense, because when he did it, everything was clear. I maybe should have thought maybe someone would come. Apparently, that much the Torah does not demand, and I assume that's more similar to the Shogeg Korov Lo'oines. But we're going to have a drosha to learn that. It says Motza. We're going to see a drosha. Zorek es ha'even lechatzero v'horag. A person threw a stone into his own chotzer. I'm sitting home or in the garden, and I'm from one garden. I throw stones to the other. I'm clearing the garden. I'm cleaning the garden from stones. No cars driving on Shabbos, just my own my own garden. And you threw a stone into your own chotzer, and someone was there, and you killed him. Depends. As we said yesterday, if the nizak has permission to go in there, if the one nizak, meaning murdered in this case, has the right to be there, and you're uncareful, you should have thought, let's say my neighbor has free permission, we're so nice and so friendly and almost communist, and we allow each other to go into each other's chotzer all the time. You should have thought that the neighbor Nachum was there when you threw it, and you didn't. He has the right to be there. So then you go in. That's like the forest. What did we say yesterday? A forest is a place where everyone can be. Well, Nachum is allowed to be in your field, in your chotzer. You should have thought, and you're goyle. V'imlav eno goyle. If he has no permission to be in my house and he came uninvited, he's not supposed to be there. It's a staff only area or my privacy only area, and he came in without not being expected. I didn't expect it when I threw the stone. He's not supposed to be there. Shenema, the person is potur, the killer is potur. Shenema, v'asher yova Yisrael bayar, the one who came, with his friend to the forest. Maya reshus lenizak v'lemazik lekonis l'sham. Just like the forest, both the nizak and mazik both are allowed to be there. Yotze chotzer ba'alabais. Av kol reshus lenizak kol mazik lekonis l'sham. So too, only places where both parties are supposed to be there is chayiv golus. Yotze chotzer ba'alabais she'en reshus lenizak lekonis l'sham. Excluding the chotzer ba'alabais, the nizak has no permission to be there. The Gemara in Bavakam I saw yesterday, Daf Lamed Beis. The Gemara says, let's say the carpenter's shop. The example I gave you yesterday, it's from the Rambam based on the Gemara. The carpenter's shop, there's a lot of stuff, all kinds of pieces of wood flying around, splinters, and it's a staff-only area. A guy coming in uninvited is not supposed to be there, and a splinter hit him. Thank you. Why did he come here? Same thing with heavy machinery in factories. The guy came into the place where he's not supposed to be, and then he was killed mistakenly by the heavy machinery, which the workers themselves know how to deal with it, but he doesn't. They're not chayiv if they killed him b'shoigeg. Abashol oimer. Abashol is giving us another drosha. Mar chativas eitzim reshus af kol reshus. Just like cutting wood, in most cases we'll see in the Gemara, is a reshus. What's dvar reshus? It's not a mitzvah, not an avera. You want to cut wood? Great. There's no mitzvah. Last time I checked in the Torah, none of the Taryag mitzvahs is chatav tachtav eitzim bayar. Not something you have to do like tefillin or like matzah. You want to cut wood? Gesundheit. As long as it's not gezela, as long as you're careful, cut the wood. You don't want to cut the wood. Okay, go work in computers. Do whatever you want. It's dvar reshus. Just like cutting wood is dvar reshus, avkol reshus. So too, a person is only chayav and being rotzech b'shoigeg chayav golus if the act that is the reason why the whole accident happened, the background was dvar reshus, excluding what? excluding dvar mitzvah. Let's say you hit someone as a mitzvah. Yotza ha'ava makes bnoi. A father who hits his son. I want to see this Rashi inside. Yeah, says Rashi, Yotza ha'ava makes bnoi la'tosoi l'derech acheres. Yeah, to bring him to a different way. The son is beginning to go off the derech. The father hits him, and then he goes on a straight path. Or the derech, not like today. The derech ha'emes, right? He wants to bring him to the derech of emes. The son chaps a patch. Look how remote we are from emes. It's unbelievable how remote we are from the emes Torah. Yeah, a son would start doing shtiyot, will get a patch from the father and say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I realized I did something wrong." The opposite of today. We just have to see this mission again and again to see what is the ultimate truth, which we're so far away from because we're so mushpa by the Western garbage slash society. So Yotzav Makes Bnoi, a father hit his son and killed him b'shogeg, gave him a few lashes, killed him b'shogeg is potu, because really he meant to be mechanechim. He's doing it for mitzvah of chinuch, right? V'harav aroides talmidoi. The Rav, yeah, the Rebbe who hits his talmid, and the Talmud says, "Oh, if I'm hit by the Rebbe, I'll be a good boy." And then what? Oides talmidoi. And if he hit him and killed him by mistake, he's potu, according to Abba Shaul. V'shliach Beis a shliach Beis Din, somebody who lashed the convicted too many times, yeah, he's not supposed to, or too hard. That's another shaila how that's done, because the 40th time he's not supposed to do. But let's shliach Beis Din. There's a shaila exactly what the circumstances are, but under certain circumstances he killed him. But the starting point was good. He's doing the shlichus of Beis Din to lash the guy, Malchus. Then these people, because the about mitzvah, not reshus or potur. Wow, that we're going to see later on. I don't know if we'll get there today. Zok the Gemara. But what did the first part of the Mishnah say? That if a person throws a stone into Reshus Harabim, Reshus Harabim naturally is a place where people, even if the street is quite empty, anybody can come, right? Anybody can come any second. I'm not following now the opinion of Blezer ben Yaakov. According to Tanakama, even if the street is empty, shkoyach, all of a sudden a car can zoom through and your stone may hit it, right? Frag the Gemara, Reshus Harabim, mezidu. Why did the Mishnah tell me goyle? This is like the perfect golus, not to oines and not to mezid. It's a shoygeg that's a mezid. If he threw it into Reshus Harabim, you know very well that there are people there. Imam is called a mezid, so it's beyond shoygeg. Omar of Shmuel bar Yitzchak, besoiser es koisloi. Okay, we're talking not about a guy who's stump trigger happy, stone happy, and he's throwing stones, the big canoes. What happened to this guy? This man, in a way which we would say is responsible, needs to demolish his wall. He has an old wall, and could be even Beis Din told him, you have to, demolish your wall, it's dangerous. He's doing a refurbishing, shiputzim. You've heard the word shiputzim in Israel ever? Really? So then what? The shiputznik, or he himself is doing his own shiputz. What's he doing? He's dropping the wall because he needs to do refurbishing. Frag the Gemara, so what? So what? Still very responsible. He should have looked, because when you demolish your wall. I'm so sorry. I was doing shipputzim, demolishing the wall. I'm not a violent guy. I'm a nice guy. I'm an interior designer. I'm an architect, and I dropped the wall. I'm so sorry. It fell on someone's head and killed him. What do you mean you're sorry? That's korv lemezid for sure. You should have been careful. You calling that shoygeg? That's mezid, or at least korv lemezid. Be responsible. Do it in a responsible way. You should warn everybody and have some, yellow tape all around. Do something to prevent that. When you do your shipputzim, you have to be very, very careful. Answers the Gemara, besoiser koisloi balayla. Nighttime. He was dafka careful. He chose to break the wall, to demolish the wall at night. Nighttime, there are no people there. I dafka brought the workers, the designer, the people, to what? The architect, to make the wall fall. Dafka at night, because at night there's nobody there. And all of a sudden at night, a guy came. How unexpected that this smarty pants, this chacham, came at night. Chacham balayla, as we say in Hebrew. Yeah, he came at night to the street wall. I didn't expect it. Zog the Gemara, balayla nami balayla liyuni. Really? Is it so rare that people walk at street by night? Today it's more common than then. Some people, moonwalkers, sometimes people walk by night too. You should have been careful. You should have looked, or send somebody else to look and see that nobody is walking around the other side of the wall, and then break the wall, even if it's nighttime. You should have expected it. You're not a shoygeg, you're korv lemezid. Answers the Gemara, besides la ashpa. Oh, We're not talking here about the regular Shusarabi middle of Rechov Geula Malchi Israel. We're talking about the one who's demolishing his wall, and the wall's supposed to fall into the ashpa. Ashpa is like a backyard, but I guess that's like a public kind of backyard of many houses. The ashpa is the backyard where Kipshuta ashpa, we have garbage, you have all the dirt, all the garbage in the backyard. That's where you throw your garbage and all that kind of stuff. Or old, you remember like in Bav Metzia, all your old kalim you don't use. So in the ashpa, this is not something which was expected. Let's say it's ashpa by night. It's ashpa where people are not supposed to walk around the ashpa. Who's going to the garbage area by night? And yeah, the ashpa is not a place where I'm supposed to assume people are there. Frag the Gemara, first wide line. Hi ashpa echidami. What exactly is the ashpa? Ish chichi barabim, as I mentioned, posher, you're still a posher. You're not getting off the hook so quickly. If a lot of people go to the ashpa, right, and they walk there around by night, people like to throw the garbage or do their private stuff, something in the backyard in the ashpa, and it's quite common. I don't care it's night, day, or whatever. It's just a technical thing, mister. You're a posher. You should have thought the people tend to go to that ashpa by night. It's a place where people sometimes go to by night. That ashpa, you're posher, mister, not golus. You should be worse than golus. You should hide from the god Adam your whole life. Iloi shchichi barabim, and if it's a place where really nobody's ever there, onosu, then it's an oines. Wow. In other words, if this ashpa is a place where no one, people don't go there, it's a private ashpa. Yeah, that ashpa is a place where people just don't go to, definitely not by night. This guy who came in was super unexpected. Maybe that's honest. Maybe that's not shoige because it's absolutely unexpected. It's not like a yar, it's like a private place. Now we found a very, 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 very specific point. Yeah, we're going to get a very specific case, which is not too much of this, not too much of that. It's just shoiging. Hit it right on the nail. Ashpa. That ashpa is a place where people sometimes go to toilet. It's a place where people in the entire building, the entire area, they go back there. People back then, unless you're a millionaire, as the Gemara says in Shabbos Chafei, most people did not have toilet at home, right? In the old houses, they had what you called outhouse. And back then, people go to toilet out of town. And these people are fancier. They don't have it out of town. They have the toilet like behind their houses. Oh, so now, Asui Leponus Babalayla, right? Elash Pesul Leponus Babalayla, the Ein Asui Lifnus Ba Bayoim. Oh, this really took place by day. Nighttime is where people normally go to toilet there at night. At night, that's where they go to toilet. Maybe by day, they don't mind going further away. Nighttime, they're scared of shadim, of Arab terrorists. They don't go far away. By nighttime, it's quite common to be the night toilet, that area. Daytime, people don't go there. However, daytime, and this happened by day, not by night. We're switching gears now. It happened by day that it demolished the wall into that ashpa, but by daytime, people normally do not go to their toilet needs over there by day, and he did it by day. No, so the guy is good as gold. No, ve'ika demikri ve'yosiv. There is the occasional guy who sometimes goes by day, mikri b'mikre. Occasionally, sometimes every once in a while, somebody goes in the middle of the day and he goes to toilet there. Maybe it's not so tzanua in the middle of the day. Desperate people, sometimes maybe, or not so tzanua, they go by day to that area which is normally used by night as toilets. So now, one second, we're in the middle of this. Now, this is the exact case to call him a shoigeg, not posher, not oines. Why? Posher lo havi. You can't call him posher. When you look at the general picture, he says, no, I demolished my wall dafka by day, and I know the data between 2 and 4, people are not normally there, and it's not meant for that, right? You can't call me posher for not looking, there's nobody there, because nobody's meant to be there by day, only by night. And I did it dafka when people don't go to toilet. Hi, so maybe it's an oines, the other side. Uh-oh. Oines nami loy havi. Why? It's not oines either. You're not oines either. Because sometimes there's the occasional toilet user that goes there by day, and therefore you should have been more careful. You should have been more careful to the level not oines. It's not like, wow. It's not like, a blue elephant would fly there and go to toilet. Sometimes, I don't know how often. I don't know. Again, I'm not prepared enough for here in the Rishonim. but there's the occasional chochem who goes sometimes by day, and you should have been careful enough to define you as shoigeg. You're above oines. You're not a pasha either, because you are right that 90% of cases people are not there. You should have been careful of the minority people who go there, and because of that middle of the road case, you're called just right. You're a shoigeg, not oines and not mazing. Yes, Rabbi. Baruch, Baruch HaGever. Yeah. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov Oimer. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov says that if when the Rotzech b'Shoigeg, boom, started throwing the stone, at that point the victim wasn't around, and after the stone started being thrown, started its trajectory, then he cocked out his head, and then he caught the blow, so to speak. Then the Rotzech is potur. I assume it's more korov le'oines, but we have a drosha. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov is saying a drosha to teach me that. What's a drosha? Tono Bonon. It says here in the pasuk. I'm going to read the pasuk inside. It says here, yeah, v'noshal habarzel min ha'etz. That's our famous pasuk. Umotzo esre'ehu, and that's whatever that is, either the metal piece or the splinter of wood or the wood found re'ehu. It found re'ehu. Yeah, if I say I came somewhere and I found you there, mashma you were there already. Right, 9:30 I came here. I found, actually not 9:30. I found you guys sitting. Right, meaning there was already an existing situation of the guy, the victim, being there, and the stone or the thing found Re'eu, as opposed to what? As opposed to, let's look at the Gemara. Tanu Abanon umotzo prat lemamtzias atzmoi, excluding a person who wasn't nimtza, his himtziat atzmo. He made himself available. He brought himself there. He wasn't motsui. He wasn't yet there. He came there. Mamtzi. He made himself be there afterwards. That is potur. Mikanam Blezo ben Yaakov. This drosha with a diuk is a source of Blezo ben Yaakov that says, if after the stone left the hand of Mr. Stone Thrower, and then then he cocked out his head from his house, let's say from his private house into the forest. He lives in the forest, yeah. He took out his head out of the window, yeah, and then boom, his head caught the stone. Potu. Then he's potu. Okay. Now the Gemara has a grammatic question.
That must be that if someone threw a stone and a guy walking 2 or 3 steps, and
Look at that. The Gemara has a question now about a grammatic point of the posuk. Lememra. That is, you are now telling me the motza miikoro mashma. You tell me when it says motza means it was there already, right? Umotza, as I told you, if I say in modern language, I found you there, you were found there. Mashma, you're already there before the event even started. Sounds very nice, but there's a question on that. From what we're going to see very soon in the Chumash, it says in the Chumash, umotza prat lemotzui. Oh, that's a whole load of halachas we have to know over here. Let us do a little introduction. What's the halacha if I sold a regular field in Eretz Yisrael? Yeah. Then if after 2 years I want to buy back the field from the buyer, a person sold the field. Let's restart because in this context we have to start right from the beginning. A person is strapped for cash and he really, really needs cash, and he's sold his metaltalin, he's looking for a job, he's looking to win the lottery, he's begging his Rosh Koilel, whatever he does, yeah, doesn't work. Now he's selling his property. Let's say a regular field, yeah, or a bais in a regular place, not a rechoima. And then what happens? Then, Baruch Hashem, after he sold the house, Reuven, the poor guy, really strapped for money. A person should not sell his property in Eretz Yisrael unless there's no other choice. Reuven sold his property to Shimon, and Shimon is now the owner. Reuven now got new money. Baruch Hashem, Reuven got promoted at work from a cleaner to be the top guy, whatever, within 1 year. Yeah, now he's very rich all of a sudden. Plus, he won the lottery. Plus, his American uncle died. Baruch Hashem. Sorry. Yeah, now he's a very rich guy. Now Now what happened? Now he wants to buy the field back from whom? From the buyer. And the buyer says, no, the buyer is not allowed to say, the buyer is forced to sell him back the field. Yeah, that's classical halacha. There are 4 different halachas. Depends if it's a soda here, soda there, house here, house there. That's a general halacha. All very nice. Question is, what happens if a person has 2 fields? He has one good field or one field close to his home where he lives. So it's very close to work, right? Work is close to home, which you all like. And what is he doing now? That person wants to sell. The person, yeah, has a house. Not a house, live a house. The person has 2 fields. He sold one field, the one that's not, he sold one field, okay? He sold the field that's a good one. The good field he had to sell for whichever reason. Now he wants to take his other field, the bad one, and he wants to swap. He's now selling his bad field and gets money from the buyer of the bad field in order to buy back the good field. Again, Reuven has 2 fields. One of them, the good one, was sold to Gadi, and the bad one to Benny. Okay, the Seder is now telling Benny, nothing to denote permission or not. They all agree, the good friends. Benny, I want to buy from you now. I sold you the field. I want to buy the field. No, not true. I want to buy a field from Benny. I want to buy the bad field, right? In order to have cash. With that cash, yeah, I will now buy the field from Gadi, the good one from Gadi. He's making money from buying a field. 1 second. No, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Basically, again, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. The guy has 2 fields, right? One field is sold, the good field is sold to Gadi, right? Okay, the Seder. Now he's saying, what does he want to do now? He wants to buy the field back from him. So now he says, listen, I have a bad field or a faraway field. I sell it to the other guy, right? And get money, okay? And with that money, I will buy back the good field. That is not allowed to do. Why? A person is only allowed to sell the field, a person only has the right to be the misken and have the Torah backing him. Oh, the guy wants his field back. If when he sold it, he really was down and out. When he sold it, he had no other choice. He's not wheeling, dealing. I have 2 fields. Yeah, let's get the good one in the price of the bad one. You're really stuck financially. He has nothing to buy it back from. And his only choice was to sell the field. Now he got the promotion. Now he won the lottery after he sold it. Now, when he's rich, the Torah is saying, you, Mr. Buyer, mechuyev, to make him go back on his 2 feet. And now that he has the money, allow him to go back to the land of his forefathers. That's the idea. But if the guy had 2 fields and he's playing games here, which is okay, if you're a real estate guy, no problem, right? You sell a bad one. With that money, you buy the good one with a bit more of loans. He's also not allowed to borrow money, by the way. That's another halacha. A person can't borrow money in order to buy back his field. It has to be money that was newly gained. New money that was newly gained, and it's his money, not a loan. Oh, but what does it have to do with our sugya? Let's read again. Lememra, the motzah meikora mashma. You tell me that the word motzah sounds like he was there before. Vermini. Now it's very, very nice. What did we say about the money of the guy who sold the fields? It says umotzo yodoi. There, the also Torah says he found prat lemotzui, excluding something that was already there when he sold. If he already had 2 fields, when you sold field the good one, you had the bad one, and now you want to play games and sell the bad one to get cash, right? In order to buy back the good one. We don't support you. Don't sell your faraway field in order to buy back the close one close to home. Don't sell your bad field in order to buy back the good field. And there the word motza means motza yoda. You found it now. Now you found new money. So you see that the word motza means, oh, wow, I found. Mashma, that's a new occurrence. Yeah, here the Lashon Matzah is contradictory. Over here, by the Rotzeach B'Shogeg, we say Matzah, the stone found ahead of a guy which was already there. And here, by the money, we say no. Only if you have new money. When did he sell the field? Last Chaf Daled Sivan, right? If the money was made in Chafhei Sivan, gewaltig, very good. You found new money. You're promoted. You got a phone call from the lottery. You got Yerusha. After, if the big money was in Chaf Gimel Sivan, you can't play games. So you see, their motto means new stuff, not old stuff. So does motto mean old or new? Make up your mind. Answers the Gemara, depends on context. As they say in America, all depends on context. Depends what is the context, what's the inyan of the pasuk. Hasam over there, minyan dekro. Umotza dumi devisiga yodoi. Over there, matzah clearly is the same as the hesiga yodoi. Ma hesiga yodoi mehashta, af motzanami mehashta. Just like over there, the Torah says mufurash. When it comes to cash, it has to be hesiga yodoi. When you read down the pasuk chart of the psukim, it sounds quite clear. The person is poor. He's stuck. He's strangulated. He has to sell the field, and then hesiga yodoi. He achieved. He reached new money. He gained new money. So to matzah, when it comes to the fields, not to cash, he found a new field. He bought a new field which wasn't there before. Over here, we also have to go by context. Umatzah dume deyar. Matzah is like a forest. Mayar mididisi mikore. Just like the forest was always there. The forest was there before both killer and victim were even born. The yar was motzui, with something, the scenario that started way before. So to matzah means when the stone found the head of the guy, means the head of the victim was already motzui, was already found, was already there in the trajectory of the stone before the stone even hit him. But if it's a new thing, then it's not. So matzah either means it was motzui, it was found, it was always there, or matzah means, surprise, I found new money, found a new thing, I have a new job, I have a new Yerusha, I have a new thing. Depends on the context, each partial inyono. There's not one clear translation of that. Bekitzer, guys, I owe you now pshat. What I'd like to go into now on my own, and then I'll share it with you later. What's the lomdus of the Machlokas Rebbe and Rabbanon? That's the main question which I think we have about the Galzen, right? If we're talking about the sliver, or we're talking from the splinter, or we're talking about the piece of metal, to be explained. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being here tomorrow, Thursday. Thank you in advance. What was your point? Remind me. That's the question. Obviously, the one thing leads to the other. Have a great day, everybody. Yeah.